Fishing is a sport of extremes. Extreme heat, extreme cold, surges of extreme enjoyment tempered by long periods of extreme boredom. A never-ending roller coaster of extreme highs and lows, occurring both above and below the surface. It's not just fishermen that experience this succession of highs and lows. Fish themselves exhibit a moody nature, ranging from peak periods of intense feeding activity down into the depths of the seemingly lockjawed doldrums and just about every condition in between. It's not a conscious decision on their part. They're simply creatures of instinct, reacting to the combined effects of weather, fishing pressure, water level fluctuations, and other complex environmental factors. The better anglers react to the mood swings of fish, the more likely they are to consistently catch them. Today, on The Edge, we're fishing a new body of water, Marmion Lake, in northwest Ontario, and we're running and gunning extremely fast in search of the most aggressive fish in the system. Marmion is a picturesque Canadian shield lake featuring vast networks of granite islands, rocky shoals, and shorelines rimmed with boulders, weeds, reeds, and fallen trees, all of which make excellent hiding places for big smallmouth bass. With miles upon miles of new water to explore and a wealth of structure and cover options to decipher, we need to move quickly to determine where fish live and how to begin catching them. It's all about power fishing, using fast-moving lures that strain the water, trigger strikes, and put fish in the boat. Because searching for smallies is always part of the game.
On a new lake that we're learning the water on, running and gunning, beating water really, really fast with moving baits, and catching smallmouth bass this big.
Closed captioning is provided by Smooth Moves, adjustable boat seat suspensions for a smoother ride.
Hey, if you're an avid angler, it's a good bet that there's a body of water that you heard about that you always dreamed about going to. Well, Dan Lindner and I are about to check one of them off of my bucket list. Now, I'm going to give you a hint. We're going to be fishing for one of my favorite fish.
One of Al's favorite fish. Guess what that is? The smallie. And we are hunting them in the land of giants, northwest Ontario. This part of the world grows some of the biggest fish on the planet. You want to see jumbo crappies? Well, that can be done. How about 7-pound largemouth? Well, they got them too. Some of the hottest musky action is found in this part of the world, not to mention some real giants. What else can be found up here? Magnum walleye, monster lake trout, and let's not forget huge northern pike. This is just a sample of some of the trophies that are waiting. Today we are staying at Crystal Beach Resort in the Atikokan region, and we will be targeting smallmouth on Marmion Lake. Now Jody, the camp owner, fell in love with this area and decided to bag his day job in favor of making his and others' dreams come true.
Yeah, the turning point for me in the construction industry is one day I was working on Highway 2 in northern Wisconsin, and a big recreational vehicle drove through with a big, nice boat behind it, and they're on their summer-long vacation. And I just decided after 20 years to change it up a little bit and try to enjoy the next 20 years of my life. We looked at resorts around Wisconsin, Minnesota, but we were more into the strictly fishing setting, and that's why we decided to pursue a camp here in Canada. The north section of Marmion Lake is like a whole different system from the southern half of the lake. It's the Seine River is what runs through the north half of it. It's a big river system that runs on down into Rainy Lake, and it's the north half is typically more of a walleye fishery. Both ends are heavily Cisco based or Tulabi. There's a lot of bait fish forage for the fish in both ends, but it's darker tannic water, and the densities of the bass just isn't as much on the north end as the south half. I think growth rates are probably higher. They're river fish more so than lake fish, and they relate a lot to structure through the summer months. And without the high populations there, I think they just grow faster and probably to a larger size. It's a lot less pressure for as far as fishing pressure. It gets minimal pressure throughout the season on the north half, whereas the lower end of Marmion gets a lot more fishing pressure. For big fish, the north end is the spot to go. The south half, you'll get a lot of 3-pounders in that range. There's going to be more and more 4 and 5s, but the top half of Marmion Lake, which we call the floodwaters, typically, that's where the biggest fish in the whole lake are living right now.
Got him. Nice one. Nice one.
What do you got him on?
It ain't a giant, but it ain't
yeah.
bad. Oh yeah.
That's nice.
There's another one with it. Another one with
there?
it.
Okay.
I won't bother with. There's 2 more with it.
Is there? All right.
Yeah.
We've made our name helping anglers unlock the water's hidden secrets. Hit the switch. It's time to reveal even more. AutoChart Live gives you the power to build your own high-definition maps anywhere in the world in real time. Because when you know the unknown, you can do the unheard of. AutoChart Live. Only from Humminbird.
When you're in the business of teaching people how to catch fish, you need to provide anglers with the finest equipment, backed with the knowledge of how to use it. It's all about blending science and technology with hardcore fishing experience and passion. It's a relentless commitment to quality. Because it's family, it's personal, and it's all about catching more and bigger fish.
There's a real boy there.
Mercury engine test.
Toughness you can rely on. It's good to have Mercury behind you.
Uncompromising. Like the fishermen who swear by it.
Mercury engine test.
Lightest 115 horsepower in its class. It's good to have Mercury behind you.
This segment is brought to you by I-gogs, quality eyewear.
Just keep him.
You want me to keep him down there?
Well, you can.
Okay, see if you can catch him. You just spit that craw.
You can get him in.
Get him in?
Yeah.
All right. That's a pretty nice fish, man.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was saying.
Wow.
What'd you get him on?
Very nice swim jig. First cast with a swim jig.
I'm impressed.
Oh, here, baby.
Whoop, double header out.
You gotta, well, he gets his in. I'll get this baby off the hook. This lake is beginning to look like everything I had heard it was supposed to be. You know, over the years, Dan and I and our family have fished a lot of tournaments up in Northwest Ontario. For years, we fished the Canadian Bass Invitational up in Kenora. And then a lot of years, we fished the CBC, the Canadian Bass Championship on Rainy Lake. And it's at those locations that I was talking to a lot of the fishermen, and they said, you gotta come over to Atikokan and fish the Atikokan Bass Classic. You won't believe how good the fishing is. Now, we've been on a lot of lakes fishing smallmouth all over Northwest Ontario. And for what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing in a short period of time, I guarantee you we're gonna be back on this baby. Not a bad one.
I'm gonna.
You use that.
Yeah, I'm going to. Just. Oh, the one thing that's nice about these Canadian fish are like solar powered, man. They are just tougher than bulls. Look at that guy. Right on the front face of that thing. Marmion Lake is no little body of water. This thing is huge, or at least it fishes huge. What I mean by that is there is so much good looking water, you have to have a game plan, otherwise you'll never leave one bay. Well, we know that the biggest fish in the system are up in the north end, so that's where we are gonna start. There are 3 primary types of cover up there: standing timber, weed beds, and classic broken rock. What we do in a case like this is sample all 3 and start putting a pattern together. There are massive fields of standing trees. We fished a ton of it and never got a bite. We found beautiful weed beds. They were full of pike and walleyes. Where we ended up finding the majority of the smallmouth was on broken rock shorelines in a depth of 6 to 8 foot. This was classic looking smallmouth water. In any Canadian lake, if you can find current, it's a good thing. So look for neck downs between islands that force water flow. Another thing to be aware of, smallmouth often focus on pelagic bait fish like tulipbean. So while you're casting to shore, these fish might be behind you, suspended over 20 to 30 foot of water. The big thing is to be flexible and try lots of different spots, keeping your eyes open to what works and then replicating it.
The one thing that's nice about these Canadian fish are like solar powered, man. They are just tougher than bulls.
For years, they've quietly taken you where the fish are. But now the silence is about to break. With the incredible new iPilot Link, your Minn Kota and Humminbird can communicate with each other. So you can hold on a spot like an electronic anchor. Record and return to waypoints and paths. Follow any Lake Master depth contour, and more, all automatically and all from your Humminbird or the Link remote. They talk, and you'll be speechless.
Hey, you remember when we were hanging out last night? You know, me, you, Gail.
That's my girl.
You guys are awesome. And then you went to bed.
I was tired.
You were super tired. And then it was just me and Gail.
Mm-hmm.
Alone.
What?
Yeah!
It's all in the paws. New Shadow Wrap from Rapala.
They say that if you turn your passion into your career, you'll never work another day in your life. At Lund, we've turned that passion into building boats for anglers who demand superior fishability, performance, and industry-leading innovation. From our dealers, to our veteran pro staff, to our employees, the Lund family puts their hearts and souls into delivering the ultimate fishing boat that we ourselves are proud to own. That's not a job, that's a lifestyle.
The Edge is presented by these and other fine sponsors.
Look at that guy. Right on the front face of that thing. Get this guy in here on famed orange crush. Oop. And a belly snag him. Okay. Easy does it, boy. He's got that thing harmonica'd in his beak. They're very gentle. See how that thing is in there? Good. Just tons of these. I don't even know how many fish you catch in a day. You catch 100 fish, easy. Tons of fish like this, and there's so much fun. Fish like this, they just pull like a Mack truck. We'll put her back. Yeah, you can catch like 100 fish days are common, and you know, we fished a lot of tournaments up here, and some of the best smallie fishing I've ever seen in my entire life have been up in Northwest Ontario. My dad and I would come up here and pre-fish for tournaments, and this is no lie, between 5 fish, I've caught 20 pounds in 15 minutes. And that's, you know, do the math on that, that's 5 4-pounders in 15 minutes. I mean, it's just, you're sitting there going, what in the world is this all about? It's like heaven for smallmouth fishermen.
You know, those fish are on a little bit of a lip there, Dan?
Yep. There he is. Oh, good one. Oh, he comes. Coming up.
Big one.
Coming up. I told you I was gonna get one here, Al. It just looked too right. It looked too right.
A lot better than that last fish.
Yep. Oh.
That's a mule.
Boy, that's so much fun. Look at that. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's a money fish.
Oh yeah, he's just getting rid.
Oh my God.
Yep. Yeah. Look at that, dude. Yep. You gotta love that bite. It's so much fun. One thing about, boy, you just gotta let these fish almost play themselves out a little bit, boy, because you don't want them getting up at boat side with those treble hooks in your hand. We'll get this guy in the water.
That's a big fish, Dan.
Oh yeah, yeah, this is a nice one. This is a good one, Al. Whoop. They just don't quit, man. They don't quit. Oh.
Big fish.
Yeah, we got to think about a tournament next year on this lake, that's for sure. Al and I are pre-fishing for a tournament next year. Maybe. Al and I are going to be new partners. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
You keep putting them in the boat like that and you got me for
Look
a
at this
partner.
fish.
I'll tell you what, you win with that. You win with those.
Oh man.
That's a 4 1/4.
Oh
4
my
1/2.
gosh.
Maybe
Look at
bigger.
that thing. Boy, that's heavy, man. That is
That
heavy
could be a
fish.
5-pounder.
You know, some fish weigh real heavy, like they're thick boned. That's one of them, boy. That's the fish you want. Holy cow. What a pretty fish too, huh? Look at that thing. We'll get her back in the water. There you go, girl. Bye-bye. Yeah, you can almost call those spots sometimes with those fish. You know, before you're planning a trip up to some of these remote lakes, they can be kind of intimidating, but you know, with some of Hummingbird's advanced technology, you can do a lot of pre-fishing before you even leave your house.
You know what? It blows me away that electronic companies like Humminbird and Minn Kota keep on coming up with new stuff for anglers every year. I'm not joking. Just when you think you've seen it all, they show up with a new twist that makes fishing more fun, exciting, and useful. The first thing I want to show you is something Humminbird calls Smart Strike. This is only available on the Onyx or Ion system. Here's how it works in a nutshell. First, you got to purchase an SD card for the lake or region you'll be fishing. Then you plug this card into your unit. Then you select from a number of search criteria to find out some likely spots to start fishing. You can highlight the species you're after, the lake region, the time of the year, and many other search parameters. Then hit Execute Search, and it highlights high percentage areas to start fishing. It's like having your own personal guide in the boat. And you can do all of this search info before you even leave on your trip. If the lake you're going to is not charted, here is something else offered by Humminbird. It's called Auto Chart Live. This is so cool. Some of your favorite lakes, I bet, do not have an accurate map of the contours. What if I said you can make your own map as accurate as a Lake Master chip in real time? Well, that's what this does. No more guessing what this structure looks like or dropping markers because you think the point sticks out that way.
I think we're done.
You make your own personal map of the lake that was previously uncharted. Now, Jody is a lifelong Humminbird man, and when we showed him the auto chart system, he couldn't wait to get his hands on it. He has plans for mapping Marmion Lake, and I can guarantee he will have a distinct advantage in upcoming tournaments.
Oh, doozy dog. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Boy, it came out like a ton of bricks, man. Nice. Very nice.
There's no place like this.
Oh, there's one. There you go, Jim. There's nice one. Fish. Cool.
No matter what moves you, Seafoam works.
Uncompromising. Like the fishermen who swear by it.
Catch more and bigger fish with Lindner's Angling Edge. AnglingEdge.com has the tools for success, tackle and equipment, adventure destinations, clothing, inspiration, instructional DVDs, and more. Miss an episode? Watch it on YouTube along with cutting-edge tips, techniques, and trends. Check out our tactical wear clothing line. Hoodies, buffs, long and short sleeve t-shirts, sunglasses, and a whole lot more. This is your one-stop shop for everything angling. Lindner's Angling Edge. Online, anytime.
No matter what moves you, Seafoam works.
The Edge is presented by these and other fine sponsors.
Boy, nothing beats it when
How
they
come you
just
didn't
stop.
hit mine?
They just stop you right in your tracks. Whoop, whoop. Hot potato, hot potato.
Lures, lures, lures. Thousands to pick from, millions of color combos. How does a guy or gal start? Well, like we said, we've never been on this lake before. So our rules of engagement are to move fast with horizontal baits looking for active biters. This does a couple of things. We get to see a lot of the lake quick, and we're not trying to force bites. We want the dumb ones fast. Then the next day, we may return to some spots and slow down. Anyways, here's a few lure choices for covering water quick, and smallies always love them, no matter what time of the year. Number 1, my favorite, and quite possibly the best lure ever developed for smallmouth, the X-Wrap. We have said it before, and we'll say it again. You never, ever, ever go out fishing for smallies without one of these on. There have been several million X-Wraps sold, and what does that tell you? They just work. The newest jerkbait on the block is the Shadow Wrap. This lure has a totally unique action. You can darn near fish it in place or work it extremely fast like a traditional jerkbait. It has a slow sink to perfectly imitate a dying bait fish. And like all jerkbaits, works all year long, depending on your presentation. Number 2, the old standby, a Terminator T1 spinnerbait with a willow leaf blade. This is another bait that always puts fish in the boat, and it's so simple to fish. The one thing I like about a spinnerbait bite is the strike. It is so rewarding watching those smallies blast out of cover and crush these lures. There is no finesse, just attack mode. Number 3, here is another no-brainer lure that always gets bites. It's the Terminator Swim Jig, rigged with either a grub, a craw, or a boot tail. Big bite baits make a ton of beautiful trailers for this lure. Each trailer has its own unique added action to the jig. The craw just flaps its little arms. The grub is very subtle, and the boot tail makes this jig kind of roll back and forth. You definitely need all 3 styles of soft baits. This baby is bulletproof. You can fish it around any shallow cover without getting hung up. Plus, you can cast it out a little bit deeper and slow roll it back with equal effectiveness. Number 4, what about a topwater? Well, of course we got one on at all times. The skitter prop has got to be one of the best search tools out. A lure skittering across the surface has a large zone of awareness, and you can call fish from great distances to show themselves. This lure is often overlooked as a search bait, but let me tell you, you can cover some serious water with this baby. Number 5, last but not least, is a VMC drop-dead weighted hook, rigged with a big bite cane thumper. I love this bait. It looks so good in the water, fish have to eat it. Here, take a look. It just throbs in the water. This thing is as effective for largemouth as it is for smallmouth, so we pretty much have one on at all times.
I'm jealous.
You're jealous, huh?
I'm very
You're
jealous.
Huh? You know, when you're planning a trip for the smallmouth up here in Northwest Ontario, and particularly if you've never been here before, we talked a little bit about the lures, the family of lures you want. But as far as rod and reel go, the minimum, if you can make it happen, you'd want 2 bait casting rods and 2 spinning rods. Your spinning rods are to cover the finesse bite. Your bait casting rods are to cover your more aggressive bites with the bigger moving baits. So, I mean, it's really simple. Yeah, you know, something like a medium heavy on your bait casting, you're powering some big fish here. If you're throwing spinner baits or big jerk baits, something like that. And on your spinning rods, if you're finessing, you know, you'll be drop shotting or grubbing or tubing with 8-pound test line, something like that. Everything that we heard about Marmion for big smallmouth like this and good numbers of fish, it's come true. For day one, on a new lake that we're learning the water on, running and gunning, beating water really, really fast with moving baits and catching smallmouth bass this big, this big. I just finished reading an interesting article titled America's Future by Perry Stone. Perhaps nowhere is this gap between a once solid biblical foundation and today's shaky moral relativism on display more than the campuses of our nation's institutions of higher education. Consider the mottos of some of America's first universities. Harvard's motto was Glory in Christ. Brown University chose the motto, In God We Hope. Rutgers selected the theme, Some of Righteousness Shine Upon the West also, referencing Malachi 4:2. Johns Hopkins University motto is, The truth shall make you free, based upon Christ's words in John 8:32. The theme, In thy light shall we see light, was the choice of Columbia University. Dartmouth selected as their motto, The voice of one crying in the wilderness, based on Isaiah 40:3. These are all verses in the gospel. And Princeton selected the words, Under the protection of God she flourishes. Ministers founded many of America's colleges and universities with an emphasis on teaching ministry, evangelism, and missions. Today, those with religious departments are often chaired by liberal and even agnostic professors who have little or no faith in the integrity of the scriptures. They teach it only as a historical book filled with errors and myths. I really don't want to say anything or make a comment on it. I just wanted to share it with you and let you think about that this week. Hey, from all of us here at The Edge, you have a good, safe fishing season. We'll see you on the water. Hey, I want to take a moment to thank you for watching. And if you really like what you see, we got a whole lot more. So check us out at any one of these online outlets. You know, in fishing, there are good days and there are great days. Time is just a wink from the Almighty. We plan, target, rig, and play the game like everyone else.